Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to chat about how much it costs to travel full-time for 12 months. So hello, it's been a really long time. I think it's been 2 years since I posted my last video, which is kind of crazy, but at the tail end of our trip is when COVID hit, and obviously that changed a lot about the world, and international travel wasn't an option at all for a while, and then it was like kind of sort of an option based off where you were from and different things like that. But now that the world is starting to open up again, I thought I would make some more videos, and I wanted to make a little 3-part series on the financials of travel. And so today's video is going to be all about our experience about how much 12 months of full-time travel cost. And then next week, or next video, I'm not going to put any timelines on it, is going to be on how to reduce the cost of travel, different ways that we set up our trip from the beginning, different tips and tricks that we use, as well as apps and travel credit cards and software, everything like that, that helped us reduce the overall cost of our trip to be affordable for us. And then the third video is going to be, from your preparation phase, how to go about saving such a large sum of money. So I'm going to make this little 3-part series now that the world is opening back up and folks are starting to plan for their travels. And I also think that the planning phase is a wonderful phase of the trip. There's so much excitement and so much strategic thought that can go into your trip and the financials and the cost of your trip. So I hope that you find this video helpful, and let's get into it. A couple more caveats actually quickly before we start. I just want to say that this is just an example of how much we spent. I'm going to give you actual numbers, but please understand that cost of something like a 12-month backpacking trip or international travel, domestic travel, however you're going to do it, can vary pretty wildly based off the locations that you're visiting, based off time of year that you go certain places, whether you expect basic accommodations or luxury accommodations or somewhere in the middle. And then also if you're traveling solo or with a partner or in a group, all of these things are gonna influence how much you spend. So don't take these numbers as gospel. I'm just trying to help get your wheels turning and to give you an example of how much it can cost. And then, one more caveat, it's important. The numbers, I kept a Google spreadsheet, I'm a giant nerd, a Google Excel spreadsheet of costs of everything. I marked every last meal, every last activity, every last taxi ride, and I calculated it for 2 people. So my husband and I went on this trip together. And so for these numbers today, what I did is I summed grand total of all of those numbers and just divided by 2. And while sometimes this is a perfect match, things like flights or meals, that's great. But I just want to acknowledge it's not a perfect match for things like hotels or, in-country transportation. For example, if we shared a rental car and the gas fees that were associated with that. But again, this is just to give you a general idea. So it might not be perfect, right? You can't have a hotel room cost, but that's what I did. I calculated the total cost for both of us and then divided by 2. Again, it's just as an example, and I hope it can be encouraging and inspirational to you. So we will see. Just a little background about our trip to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. We traveled for 12 months. It was originally supposed to be 14 months continuous. At the 9-month mark of our international travel, we've been traveling for 9 months internationally at that point, is when COVID hit. And so that changed all of our plans drastically, obviously. We came back to the States, and for the first couple months, we really just hunkered down like everyone else and tried to figure out what exactly was happening. And after about 2 months, we did feel comfortable enough to set out on basically an epic camping trip. So we decided to travel domestically. We felt safe, just the 2 of us in the car and camping, no hotels. And so we did 15 national parks in the US. So the last 3 months of our travels was domestic. The US is known to be a little more expensive, but since we were camping, it kind of evened it out. So I just wanted to break down, it was 12 months of travel. It was not quite continuous, but we went to 16 different countries. 9 months of it was international. And of those international countries, we spent 2 months in Europe, 3 months in Africa, 3 months in Southeast Asia, 1 month in New Zealand, and then, as I mentioned before, the final 3 months in the US. So just to kind of give you an idea of the types of locations that we went to, so, because I think that's important. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna break down the categories by flights, other in-country transportation, lodging, meals, all others, miscellaneous bills, and then we'll give the grand total. So for one person, this is for me, for flights for the year, I spent $3,572. I did not factor out the flights that we bought with our points though, and I think I'm going to talk about that next week. I'm not going to get into that too much here, but that saved me individually just shy of $800. But let's assume you don't use travel credit cards. $3,572. Other transportation, other in-country transportation, this was things like rental cars, gas, trains, overnight trains, taxis, everything like that. $4,071. So lodging, and this covered everything from hotels to campsites, it was $5,468. Meals, and we do like to eat. We like to go out to eat. So we probably could have gone less on this category, but it was $4,598. And then I put all other kind of into a miscellaneous category, and this included things like activities and excursions, as well as like visas for the countries that required it. $4,744. And this did include a rather expensive free diving course that we both took when we were in Thailand. I think that was $500. So things like that, just an example that one thing can really kind of blow your budget or not, and you just have to kind of decide what's important to you. But I'm going to talk about that in a future video. And then other bills. So this included our phone bill. We did go with Google Fi. I just want to plug them here because they were great for us. I loved we didn't have to deal with SIM cards, changing anything like that. Google Fi has an international plan, or not even an international plan, it's just built into their plan that you can just, we landed in a country and we turned our phone on and we were good to go. I think out of all the 16 countries, all but one, we had full service and no issues. Didn't require Wi-Fi, anything. It was as if we were in the States, which was really cool. So this category includes bills for our phone, different types of insurance that we had, and then we continue to sponsor. We sponsor some children in their education and things. So all of that together was $1,470. So the grand total for a year of travel for one individual was $23,923. So actually sitting down today when I was calculating it all was the first time I had seen a grand total number, and I know that that's a large number, and for some people that's going to seem like an astronomical number, and it is. We have to acknowledge it for what it is. But I think if we switch the way that we're thinking about things, at least for me, I thought, how much does it cost me to just live 12 months here in the States, not traveling? Rent alone, things like utilities, Wi-Fi, your car insurance, your gas. I think I personally would be really hard pressed to be able to live, on $24,000 a year. And so I just want to flip that on its head, because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe we should travel full time, because I think it's cheaper than just, living life in the States. Obviously that's not feasible for everyone, and just daydreaming perhaps at this point. But I just wanted to challenge folks to think about it that way, because when I saw that number at first I was like, this is a lot, and then I thought about it some more and I was like, yeah, but how much would have it had cost to live in the United States, right? Just for 12 months straight. And so anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So let me know what you guys think. Was it more than you thought it was going to be? Less? Is that obtainable? Hopefully it was encouraging to you. I should mention as well, it's been roughly 18, 20, let's just say 2 years. Not quite actually, but let's just say it's been 2 years since we got back from our trip, and inflation is real. So I just want to mention that. And, but I think hopefully this is going to give you a good starting point. And so stay tuned. Next week I'm going to talk about, like I said, the way that we set up our trip from the beginning to help reduce the cost, different tips and tricks that we use, different apps and software that we subscribe to help us save on the trip. And then we're going to talk the following video about how, in the year and a half leading up to the trip, we were able to save the amount of money to give us this freedom to go on this sabbatical year. So thank you very much for staying tuned to the end. I hope this was encouraging to you, and we will see you next video.